everyone. I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and welcome to another edition of Countyline on Public Access Television. On this edition of our program, we have the opportunity to show you three separate events that all have one common theme, honoring some very deserving Allen County citizens. Our first segment originates from the Bella Vista Allendale neighborhood for a ceremony honoring Billy Reichert. Billy died on August 9th after a battle with cancer. She served as president of the Bella Vista Allendale Neighborhood Association for more than 20 years, and along with her late husband Paul Reichert was credited with securing local funds to make a number of improvements, including construction of the new bridge, which now bears her name.
Hey, well, thanks so much for coming out and joining us tonight. What a great opportunity to honor a real great individual in our community. I knew Billy Reichert, and it was kind of funny. I did say to Mike today, I said, "What else you got on her?" Just to help me out here a little bit. And he handed me an article that it may have been in the Waynedale News. I think it was from last year, and I read it. And part of it said Billy had a Christmas card list of 93 elected officials, and she didn't mind calling them out of bed in the middle of the night to get something done. Well, you know what? They were absolutely right, because I'm one of those people that she called out of bed in the middle of the night to get something done. As y'all recall, this area right here used to do its share of flooding. And one of the things Billy would do would be to push to make sure that the improvements that were necessary for a community were made. She was tireless. She did a fantastic job as a public servant, and she truly did have the minds and the hearts of the people she represented in the neighborhood at heart. So we are delighted to be here tonight to celebrate her accomplishments in renaming this bridge. And with that, let me turn this over to others that knew her as well, Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Bloom.
Thank you, Commissioner Peters. You know, it's one of those wonderful opportunities that we get as elected officials, not only to get to know our constituents, but to also be able to take the time and the opportunity to be able to do something that's going to be proactive for a community. And as Commissioner Peters said, Billy was definitely a person who went above and beyond as an individual to do things for her community, and you well know that. I mean, she clearly had us on the Christmas card list, but also as an individual that tirelessly did what she felt was appropriate as someone being engaged with her community and being engaged as a conduit to make things happen. So it's a pleasure to be here, and it's a great opportunity for us to pay back to a community, for an individual, for all the things that she has done over a course of a lifetime. So to that, I yield to Commissioner Linda Bloom.
Billy and I were buds too, and I got the phone calls any time of the day or night. I know I got a lot of them about this grassy area around the bridge, because that went on for a long, long time, and I assured her if they didn't do it that I would come out and do it. So a lot of things were like that, because remember when one bridge was closed and then the other bridge, you had to use that, but you couldn't get across, remember, you know, all that stuff. It was just a fun thing, even though she drove me crazy. I loved her to pieces, and it was just fun having someone in a neighborhood that took that much love and dedication to all of you and to the group, to the place. It's just an amazing thing, and I can't even imagine what it feels like not having her around, and I bet she's talked about a lot, because she was one special lady. And yeah, I could choke thinking about her easily. Anyway, this is a good thing, naming the bridge after her, because it's her bridge, that's for sure. And great idea, and a good day, no rain today. So thank you for having us. We're so glad to be here, And we have another speaker right here, and I think he's one of you guys, isn't he? And I don't know his name. And I'm sorry.
No problem. Hi, I'm Brian Baumgartner. I'm the vice president, and Billy loved her neighborhood. Anything that she could do, she would do, right from getting us new streets or extra lights for the neighborhood to the triangles that she would redesign every so many years. And she just, anything that she could get her hands on, she would do for the neighborhood. And she's gonna definitely be missed. But well, hopefully we'll continue with it and finish up the ditch banks and finish up her work for her. So I guess we can go ahead and pull
Let's
this.
do it. Let's name a bridge.
Get it. All right. We're going this way? Come on.
Hang on just a moment. Hang on just a moment. Everybody in. All right. Okay. You're the tall one, so you get to pull it off. On three. 1, 2, 3.
We thank the residents of the Bella Vista Allendale neighborhood for allowing us out for that ceremony. Our next segment takes us outside of the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum, where a ceremony was recently held to honor the longtime voice of the Fort Wayne Comets, the late great Bob Chase.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Randy. I'm Randy Brown, Executive Vice President, General Manager of the Memorial Coliseum. As we begin this morning, I ask that you keep the people of Las Vegas in your thoughts and prayers. The people that have died, people that were wounded. It is a very sad day for our country. But it's wonderful to see such a wonderful turnout here this morning for the dedication of the drive that you see behind me, that now and forever will be known as Bob Chase Way. Bob was a long-time supporter of the Memorial Coliseum, and I cannot tell you how many times I would run into Bob, and he'd give me a pep talk about whatever the crisis of the moment would be. And I thought about Bob like a favorite uncle, because many times he'd put his arm around my back, he'd tell me some great story, and Bob had lots of great stories, but and just give me the encouragement to keep going. So just an amazing individual. On November 9th of 2002, Bob was the master of ceremonies with the rededication of the arena. After 2 years of construction, I can tell you that no one was prouder of the renovation, the expansion, than Bob Chase. As the expansion project came out of the ground, and remember, it was a 2-year project, Bob was always out here, and we'd be doing walk-around tours, and just I was giving Bob regular updates on what we were doing, were we on schedule, and because no one was a bigger supporter of the Coliseum than Bob Chase. On June 26th, the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum Board of Trustees met and heard a proposal to name the Circle Drive after our friend and colleague Bob Chase. I'm happy to tell you that the trustees' vote was unanimous. So here we are today to make it official. I am proud of the friendship that I have had with Bob, and I can tell you that I miss seeing him around the building. But I may never see him in the halls of the Coliseum again, but with our actions today, I will tell you, Bob Chase, you will never be forgotten. Now I'd like to invite Michael Franke up to say a few words.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, sir. First of all, thank you to Randy, the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum Board of Trustees, the county commissioners, the county council, everyone that was involved in this tremendous decision. And I'm going to keep my words brief. I know David and Karen would like to speak to you. But the whole goal of this, from my perspective in discussing things with Bob and his last months of life on this earth, was to remember him. And, you know, I was thinking several weeks ago that with this dedication today, 20, 30 years from now, maybe when a lot of us are all gone, a little boy and his dad will be coming up to the building to an event, whatever the event might be, and he'll look up and he'll see that Bob Chase Way sign. And he'll say, Dad, Mom, what's Bob Chase Way? And the legacy of this great man will continue long after he is gone and long after all of we are gone. And what a deserving honor for a wonderful guy that we all knew and loved. And I'm just so happy. He would be so happy today with this as a remembrance to his life here in Fort Wayne. So thank you all for coming. We would now like to hear from David and Karen, Bob's daughter and son. Guys?
Thank you for coming, everybody. My name's Dave, and I'm the youngest son of the family. You know, my dad, he just loved life. Everything that he did, he just loved to tell stories constantly. He loved his family immensely. And, you know, starting with my mom, who is here tonight, or this afternoon, and, you know, he would love this to be called Murph Chase Way, in all honesty. He really, he just, you know, loved her with his whole heart. My brother Kurt is not here today. He wished that he could be here, but he's down in Birmingham, Alabama. And my oldest brother Mike just recently passed as well. And, you know, it's sad that he isn't here with us as well today. But for the staff at the Coliseum, I want to thank them and for honoring my father like this. Comet Hockey, the Frankies and the team, Coach Gary Graham, Shane, I see you over there. You know, I love listening to you. Honest to God, it's like listening to my dad when I'm, you know, put it on the computer because I'm 500 miles away. You know, everybody that has done a part to keep honoring my father, I really appreciate that. And with that being said, I'd like to let my sister, who truly has his gift of gab, take over and say a few things right here.
Good job, Dave.
Yeah, don't get me started. But you know, Dad definitely did give me the freedom to express myself and be able to talk in front of people and coach and be that person. But today was different. I needed to write things down today just so I could remember and not get overwhelmed with the grace of what everybody has done for our family. So I just want to say greetings and thanks to everyone who has had a part in making this day happen. And I mean, what a glorious day for a celebration in Fort Wayne, Indiana, huh?
Yeah, amen.
Growing up in Fort Wayne, there were always two things that seemed larger than life to me. The first was my dad. At 6'6" tall, I was always worried about my dad hitting his head on the ceiling. He simply towered over me until I grew and grew and grew and grew. And then I realized he wasn't that close to the ceiling. The other part of that was the Coliseum. I always remember the Coliseum from being a little girl. From the outside, it was this gigantic structure that was the biggest building I'd ever seen in my life. From the inside, it was equally impressive. Walking up the massive ramp, which I used to even have dreams about, that they would go straight and I'd slide back down them and I'd try to get up them again. They just made my heart pound, right? And then the excitement of actually walking into the arena for whatever event you were going to be at. That's never faded for me. I'm going to date myself here, but Alice Cooper, Donny Osmond, and thanks to Vi Elliott for taking me to Donny Osmond, by the way. And then my high school graduation. To every hockey game that I've ever attended, the feeling of being home has never left me, or others for that matter. Just 2 weeks ago, I met a woman in Evergreen, Colorado. She grew up in northwestern Ohio, and when I told her that I was from Fort Wayne, she immediately began sharing with me her fondest memories of growing up were when they got to get in the car and drive to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and go to the Coliseum for a concert, a hockey game, a show. It was unbelievable that she was sharing this with me right then before I actually was here for this day. So I just think it's such a small world we live in, and that's just the way that Fort Wayne and the Coliseum has touched so many people throughout all of our lives. So as I grew, so did the Coliseum. While so many cities were tearing down structures, Fort Wayne made the decision to raise the roof. Who else but the people of Fort Wayne would figure out a way to keep their prized possession and make it even bigger and better than before? It has continued to grow and evolve just like our wonderful city. And Dad was there for all of this. Fort Wayne, WOWO Radio, Comet Hockey, the Coliseum, and our dad, Bob Chase. How they all became connected is one of those amazing and true stories that Dad told so well. My brothers, Kurt and David, and I were not born when Dad started broadcasting from the Coliseum, but it soon became our second home as well. My earliest memories of Dad and the Comets were magical. We sat right there behind the bench next to the penalty box. There was no plexiglass up there. And, we literally could remember who did and didn't have teeth. Who was, swinging at who and dodging and diving around the pucks that came flying by. I know Vivian Pretty got hit in the head pretty good. She was 3 people down. So it was really exciting. You had to pay attention. There was no working on your cell phones back then. All right, you watched the game. So to this day, though, I really can still close my eyes. I see Cal Purinton checking this guy into the boards, like about 100 miles an hour, and that guy just didn't get up. I can remember Lenny Thornton dancing through the crowd like nobody was watching and scoring so easily. I hear Choo Choo, Twinkle Toes, Reggie. I hear all those names over and over again in my head from listening to Dad and watching them control the ice on both ends. It was just an amazing time. Pemmers, all of them. Dad was there for every call, and perhaps some of you were as well. For 63 years, you had Dad there with you and for you, and the Coliseum was always our living room for the home games. When Dad passed away last Thanksgiving, we were paralyzed with grief. No words could describe how that day changed us forever. What would happen throughout that day, and actually up to this moment, gave us the strength to carry on. That was and is the love and support of Fort Wayne, WOWO, the Coliseum, the Comets, and you too, Blake Sebring. You guys took the wheel and you drove for us. WOWO did the most amazing on-air tribute. The Comets took my breath away with their tribute to Dad and their victory that night. Randy Brown and the Coliseum crew gave Dad the most heavenly send-off right at center ice. And the kind words and cards have continued to bless us. Now today we are all here to unveil the naming of Bob Chase Way. This is one more honor that Dad would never have expected and would not have felt worthy of. I think personally the concept of Bob Chase Way is perfect. It's not an avenue or a street or a drive. I find myself saying the Bob Chase Way. I hope it reminds people to enter this historical building and bring a piece of Dad's heart with them. The Bob Chase Way was to represent yourself and others with dignity and respect. The Bob Chase Way was to put family first, to be loyal and committed, to follow your heart and chase your dreams. I hope each time a car turns onto Bob Chase Way, especially on those hockey nights, that each person gets a little shiver up their spine, just thinking about the magical moments and memories they are creating, and that each night when they drive home, they know that Dad was still there with them. After all, it was his home for 63 years. He will continue to wrap his arms around you each time you visit, as long as you keep him in your hearts. Seeing his name will keep his spirit alive. And maybe someday, there might even be maybe a little statue or something, who knows, okay? But thank you for allowing me to just share my feelings, my memories, and my love for my family and for everyone that's here that made this possible. So God bless all of you, and thanks.
So if you need to come when we're ready, we're going to do it on the count of 3, all right? So everybody knows what to do it.
Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3.
Well, in September of 2016, the Allen County Board of Commissioners announced the establishment of the Linda and Jerry Vanderveer Impact Award to be presented annually to an individual or individuals who reside in Allen County and have lived a life of service to our community outside of their regular profession in the example and the tradition set by the Vanderveers. Nominees were evaluated for their vision and action, their selflessness and sacrifice, commitment and perseverance, and the impact their work has had on the community. On September 29th, the commissioners presented the award and also recognized those who were nominated for this honor.
Good morning. I'm Commissioner Therese Brown, President of the Allen County Board of Commissioners. On behalf of my fellow commissioners, I want to welcome you to the presentation of the 2017 Linda and Jerry Vanderveer Impact Award. The commissioners announced last September establishment of this award to be presented annually to an individual or individuals who reside in Allen County and have lived a life of service to our community outside their regular profession in the example and tradition set by the Vanderveers. Linda and Jerry are best known in the community for their tireless advocacy on behalf of police and firefighters, which included creating and maintaining the Allen County Law Enforcement Firefighters Memorial on North Wells Street. They were also instrumental in making improvements to the Baker Fairfield neighborhood where they've lived and worked. In May, we began accepting nominations from the public for the award. The nominees were evaluated based on 4 criteria: vision and action, seeing a need in their community and taking steps to meet that need; selflessness and sacrifice, devoting their time and energy in service to their community without seeking recognition or reward; commitment and perseverance, working through difficulties and challenges to achieve their goal; and finally, impact, making a positive impact in their community through their work and serving as encouragement for others to do likewise. Before we announce this year's recipients, we want to take this opportunity to recognize the other worthy nominees whose work and service have had a positive impact on our community. And just so you are aware, 2 of our nominees were not able to join us today. And one is Amy Bell. She's a nurse practitioner in Fort Wayne, and she was nominated by one of her patients, Daniel Thompson. Daniel writes, "Amy embodies that nurse nightingale persona. She gives 1,000% of love, patience, and kindness to all the people she meets. She is famous for asking, 'Is there anything you need?' She is very engaged in her patients' health care. She is a problem solver who'll roll up her sleeves and try to find the solution. And she is very upbeat and positive, always." So we thank Amy for being a nominee and for Mr. Thompson for nominating her. Our other recipient was Cheryl Moen. Cheryl Moen is a volunteer at St. Vincent de Paul. She was nominated by Joe Tonsing. Of Cheryl, Joe wrote, "Her work with St. Vincent de Paul provided Cheryl with a first-hand knowledge of the needs of the most vulnerable members of the community. She organized many food drives, clothing drives, spiritual gatherings, and similar activities that provided goods and services to the citizens of Fort Wayne. While a very active person, Cheryl is not a seeker of the limelight or recognition. Cheryl has remained committed to helping others, even during difficult health issues involving her and her husband. Ask anyone who knows Cheryl, and they will confirm the selfless nature of this special woman." So we thank both of those individuals, not only for being nominated, but for all the things that they continue to do in our community. And now, we will be going on to our other nominees, and that being Mitchell McKinney. Mitchell McKinney is a sergeant with the Fort Wayne Police Department. He was nominated by Rod Bratmuller. Rod writes that as president of the FOP Lodge, Fort Wayne 14, Mitch was able to bring law enforcement and the community together with various community outreach programs, which offered the chance to see officers for the human beings they are. Rod also cited Mitch for his service on the boards of the Fort Wayne Ballet and the Fort Wayne Children's Choir as providing a strong role model for youths who may have little or no positive influences in their lives. The strong relationship between law enforcement and the citizens of Allen County can be at least partially accredited to the community outreach that Mitchell McKinney has worked so hard to provide. Rod concludes, I have personally observed his work and can attest to the selfless dedication that Mitchell has provided to this community. So on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, thank you. Rachel Rayburn. It almost sounds like Price is Right, doesn't it? Dr. Rachel Rayburn is an associate professor at IPFW. She was nominated by Jordan Halstead. Jordan cited Rachel's work with the Homeless Coalition, the Mayor's Office, and the Community Harvest Food Bank. Jordan writes, she continuously solicits, collects, and distributes food, clothing, and other donations for the homeless population of Fort Wayne. In addition, she involves and engages her students in all these projects and generates palpable enthusiasm among them while doing so. She has served as a selfless and idealized role model to innumerable students at IPFW. This has generated a sustained commitment which may have a generational impact on Fort Wayne's future philanthropists. Thank you, my dear. She'll get there. Debbie Stellwagen. Debbie Stellwagen is Executive Assistant to the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Fort Wayne. She was nominated by Henry Phillips. Debbie worked with the City of Fort Wayne, the Fraternal Order of Police, Fort Wayne United, and the Boys and Girls Club to form the Blue Bucket Brigade, connecting our most trusted servants with our most vulnerable youth. Henry writes, Debbie created, launched, and executed all the key components of this new program, building support for local law enforcement and youth. She has adjusted numerous times to weather, emergencies, and misunderstandings with a smile, ingenuity, and a renewed effort to succeed. The Boys and Girls Club of America and Lowe's Home Improvement Stores have plans to discuss a national effort to expand this Fort Wayne program. Debbie continues volunteering countless hours to promote, speak, collect, and organize this new massive local effort. Debbie, congratulations. And now I will turn it over to Commissioner Nelson Peters, who will now introduce our award recipients. Commissioner Peters.
Thank you. You know, I couldn't be more proud than I am right now to stand here with these folks and honor them for what they've done for this community. Debbie, Rachel, Mitch, thank you so much for your contributions. We bemoan the fact many times that there are so many who do so many things in this community, but we don't take the time to recognize them. We look back at Jerry and Linda last year and their unfailing efforts to make this a better community, and thought, wait a minute, has anybody even stopped to say thanks for what it is they do in this community? And the answer was maybe, but we wanted to do it in a more public way. It was an honor that was bestowed upon them, as Commissioner Brown said, based on some certain criteria that was established. But it meant a lot to us to be able to publicly recognize their accomplishments and everything they meant to this community. To fast forward to this year, to get these folks to be acknowledged for some of the things that they've done, to me is very heartening, and it just makes me a proud citizen of Allen County. It was not easy to arrive at where we did in picking this year's recipient of the Impact Award, because there are so many good people in this community that are doing good things. And it is kind of interesting that we arrived where we did because Jerry and Linda as a couple were so instrumental in what was going on in Allen County. We really didn't make that the criteria for picking a successor. But as it was, we landed on a couple to succeed them as the nominee. I just want to tell you a little bit about what I know about these guys. I met Dan Wire a long time ago. Actually, as I was doing an internship in the mayor's office, and I'm not going to tell you which one because that will be a dead giveaway as to how long ago that was, but there he was sitting in the mayor's office as a volunteer, giving of his time, his efforts, while still playing full-time teacher at Northside High School. You fast forward a number of years later, and there was Dan again, trying to do what he could do for this community to make it a better place. You know, Dan has become the river guy in this community. Anything there is to do with the rivers, he knows about it, he helps with it, he gets the volunteers together. Just recently, and I knew I'd probably do this, I got my notes all mixed up, but I can tell you that he was part and parcel to a lot of the river successes that we've had recently. We had River Fest that ran for a couple of years. Dan was instrumental in putting that thing together, helping coordinate it, and making sure that everybody during that weekend in the summertime out at IPFW had a great time on the river. I do know that more recently he was instrumental in giving the city the idea of purchasing a riverboat and running the canal boat up and down the river. Efforts, again, that led to Sweet Breeze that if you haven't been on, I hope you take the opportunity in the spring. We haven't closed it up yet this year, have you? Take the opportunity either yet this fall or in the spring to ride on. There is just so much that we owe to Dan as a debt of gratitude for his efforts that this award doesn't go far enough. Now, I met Judy a few years later. And Judy has truly been the unsung hero of that union as well as things that have been happening here in Allen County. Judy, back in 2005, was the owner of Great Pains Glass Company, and she reactivated the Wells Street Business Association by going from business to business, knocking on the doors, and getting people revved up about the idea of really enhancing the Wells Street corridor. She's worked on the planning and other city departments on plans to make that corridor a prime destination. And if you've ever been by Broad Ripple in Indianapolis, I oftentimes vision the Wells Street corridor eventually under Judy's leadership looking something like that, and that truly is a point of destination. She was part of the Main Street Urban Corridor and streetscape planning for the realignment of business and residential buildings along Wells. And, you know, she's continued to make the Wells Street corridor, among other things, a real neat thing in this community. I can sit here and I can babble on a whole lot longer, but you really didn't come here to hear me today. We came here really to honor this year's Linda and Jerry Vanderveer Impact Award winners, Judy and Dan Wire. Now, what I'd like to do, just before you get real close, is I'd like to have last year's recipient, and hopefully I didn't steal everything. No. Last year's recipient, Jerry Vanderveer, just speak to these folks a little bit further.
Okay, first off, I'd like to thank the commissioners. No, I want to tell you, I love you guys. For what you're doing, you're honoring my Linda and allowing this award to be presented on the anniversary of her journey to heaven. But what's truly humbling is creating an award to honor citizens who love and make their community better and want to make their community better, and having it named after you. These nominees, God, are true examples of the individuals who give of themselves and benefit others, to benefit others. I have no doubt that each and every one of them will at some point be the recipient of the Impact Award as they keep going to what they're doing. I'm tickled to death that the commissioners chose to give this award to citizens who are with us still, so they have time to savor this accomplishment that they've done. And anyway, our city's blessed with many everyday heroes who give unselfishly to our community and yet go unnoticed. This award truly is a giant step in recognizing those people, which leads me right into Judy and Dan Wire. You've just heard the many things that they've done to continue to do for our community. I believe the Wires epitomize what this award was intended to do, to honor those who never ask for thanks for their service, yet never turn away when there is a need. I believe my Linda is smiling and cheering at this date. May I present the Jerry and Linda Vanderveer Impact Award to Judy and Dan Wire.
Well, and just to show you what will be hung permanently in the commissioner's office beginning today is this. And their name will be affixed, their name is affixed, right there.
So if you have any words that you would like to say, here.
What a wonderful award. It's extremely humbling knowing both Jerry and Linda, and for many years that they have big shoes to fill.
I can't add much other than to follow in the footsteps of Jerry and Linda is very rewarding and humbling, and I also feel honored to be able to stand next to these individuals who've given to the community, and I'm certain there's more down the road. Looking forward to seeing that plaque filled up. Thank you very much, Jerry.
And that concludes our festivities.
Our congratulations to Judy and Dan Wire for this special recognition, and to the other 5 individuals who were nominated. That will do it for this edition of County Line. I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again next time on County Line.
Views and opinions expressed may not reflect those of the Allen County Public Library, Access Fort Wayne, and/or any other supporting groups. If you are interested in producing your own programs for Access Fort Wayne, you can contact us at 260-421-1250.